pigs have bilateral symmetry, which refers to organisms with body shapes that are mirror images on both sides.
This is the heart.
The heart is an essential organ in your body. It pumps blood throughout the body and supplies oxygen and nutrients to the tissues, and removes carbon dioxide and other waste. Humans and the fetal pig have a 4-chambered heart, with the left and right ventricles and the left and right atriums.
Okay, so this right here, this is the vena cava.
The vena cava is a large vein that carries blood to the heart from other areas of the body. The vena cava has 2 parts, the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava.
So this right here is the aorta that goes down to the heart, and it's just not colored.
The aorta is the main and largest artery that carries the blood from your heart to other parts of the body. The blood leaves your heart through the aortic valve from the left ventricle.
The renal artery branches off from the lower part of the aorta and supplies blood to the kidneys, while renal veins take blood away from the kidneys into the inferior vena cava.
This is the umbilical artery on either side, and the umbilical cord.
The umbilical cord carries the baby's, or as Mr. Litton would put it, the parasite's blood back and forth between the baby and the placenta. It delivers nutrients and oxygen to the baby, as well as removing the baby's waste products, while the umbilical arteries supply deoxygenated blood from the fetus to the placenta.
These are the lungs on either side of the heart.
When we breathe out, we expel carbon dioxide, which the plants consume in exchange for oxygen, which we breathe in, creating a cycle. Lungs also bring oxygen from the atmosphere and pass oxygen into our bloodstream, and then circulates throughout your body. Lungs are the center of the respiratory system.
So this right there, that is the trachea.
The trachea is a passage for air. It moistens and warms it before entering the lungs. The trachea is a tube connecting the larynx to the primary bronchi, known as the windpipe.
This is the larynx.
The larynx is a cartilage structure that serves as a passageway for air between the pharynx and the trachea.
This is the diaphragm.
The diaphragm is a dome-shaped muscle that separates the thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity. Upon inhalation, the diaphragm contracts and flattens, and the chest enlarges.
Underneath the trachea is the esophagus.
The esophagus is a muscular hollow tube that transports material from the throat to the stomach. Your esophagus is also lined with muscles that help push food and liquid down.
This is the large intestine.
The large intestine absorbs water and salt from material that has not been digested and gets rid of any waste product left over. Liquid waste turns into solid stool, and it absorbs any other nutrients that the body may need.
This is the cecum, the end of the large intestine. This is the small intestine.
The small intestine is an organ that absorbs nutrients and minerals from food. It lies between the stomach and the large intestine. It is called the small intestine due to its diameter in comparison to the large intestine, but when stretched out, it is longer.
This is the duodenum.
Duodenum is the first part of the small intestine where chyme enters the stomach. After food mixes with the stomach acid, they move into the duodenum where they mix with bile.
This is the liver.
The liver produces urine and bile, detoxifies blood, and stores glycogen and produces the plasma protein.
This is the gallbladder.
The gallbladder is an organ that is attached to the liver that serves to store and concentrate bile.
This is the
The stomach is an organ that receives food from the esophagus that starts the digestion of proteins and moves food into the small intestine.
This here underneath the stomach is the pancreas.
During digestion, the pancreas makes enzymes that breaks down sugars, fats, and starches. It also helps the digestive system by making hormones. Insulin is a very important hormone that regulates blood sugar levels.
So that right there is the anus. And then in here, that is the rectum.
The rectum is a holding area for stool. When it is full, it pushes stool out of the body through the anus. The anus is at the end of the gastrointestinal tract where feces leave the body.
These are the ureters. They go into the urinary bladder.
The ureters are narrow tubes that carry urine from the kidneys to the bladder. Muscles in the ureter wall continually tighten and relax forcing urine downward. The ureter's tubes are about 8 to 10 inches long.
So that right there is a urinary bladder, and it's filled with bile.
The bladder is a hollow organ that is located in the lower abdomen. It is designed to hold about 400 milliliters of urine for humans. The inside of the bladder is lined with a layer of transitional epithelial cells. The bladder filters your blood, removing waste and excess water. This waste becomes urine.
This is the urethra.
The urethra is a thin fibromuscular tube that begins at the lower opening of the bladder and extends through the pelvic and urogenital diaphragms to the outside of the body.
These are the kidneys.
The kidneys act as a filter for waste and toxic substances, and they return vitamins, amino acids, glucose back into the bloodstream. The kidneys also receive a high blood flow. This is filtered by special blood vessels. As humans, kidneys also filter about 45 gallons of blood per day.
This is the spleen.
The spleen fights invading germs in the blood. It also controls the distribution of white and red blood cells. It removes old or damaged red blood cells.
So this right there, that is the thyroid
The
gland.
thyroid gland is a large ductless gland in the neck which secretes hormones regulating growth and development through the rate of metabolism.
This is the penis.
The penis is the male sex organ which transfers the sperm.
These right here are the testicles.
Testicles make testosterone, a male reproductive hormone, and is in charge of making sperm.
This here is the brainstem.
The brainstem is the base of the brain that lies between the cerebral hemisphere and the cervical spinal cord. It also serves as a critical role in regulating certain involuntary actions.
Cord bringing messages up to the
The spinal cord is a pathway for messages sent by the brain to the body and from the body to the brain.
This is the cerebellum around this area, and this is the cerebrum around here.
The cerebrum is located at the front of the brain. Its functions are to initiate movement and the coordination of movement. And for the cerebellum, its function is to control motor learning and to produce fluid, limb, or body movements.
The corpus callosum is a set of nerve fibers that communicate and send signals to each other.
These are the small intestines. They're small in diameter, but long.
By the brain to the body. Whoa, wait. Sent by the brain to the body and from the body. Okay, sorry, that was right. I just